Welcome back, everybody, to Katawa Shoujo, episode 100 and summon. 16, 15, 100 and summon. 100 and summon. I don't know which one. Oh, yeah. We're in the final rounds. It's all in. The snap of the mobile phones closing contrasts with the ambient chatter and noise audible even in the hallway outside the library. It's the first day of the summer holidays. A time that had perpetually seemed so far away, and yet it's now not only here, but almost made painfully obvious by the students, or lack thereof, left in the school. Most students have returned home to spend the holidays with relatives by now. The few that are left are mostly chatting between themselves, usually about what they intend to do in the coming weeks. It makes me feel like the odd one out, for taking advantage of the school library being open for the first several days of the holidays. You freak. Ostensibly, it's for students to drop off any books they've borrowed and have yet to return, and for those who'll have their parents pick them up to help pass the time until they get whisked away. Thanks to the recent lengthy phone calls from my parents, which had so rudely woken me from my sleeping on a beanbag at the back of the library, I'm now in the latter category. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, this time remembering to set it to silent, I go back into the quiet and wholly placid room. The very placid room, yeah. It's a nostalgic sight. Just as when Lily first led me to the library, the orange tint of sunset bathes the room in its light. It's a weird fake of the idea of a blind person leading you somewhere. The room in its light when Hanako sits on a beanbag silently reading and Yuko fusses, just barely visible behind the counter. Hanako especially has been noticeably more quiet than usual since yesterday's happenings, but I can't really blame her. It wasn't just me that depended on that person after all. I quietly walked back to the beanbag near where I'd sat before, being doubly careful not to make any unnecessary noise. The soft puff it gives as the bag takes my weight makes Hanako's eyes flick towards me, but only for a second. I get the feeling that Hanako is being quiet only partly out of sadness following Lily's departure. Rather, she seems more thoughtful and measured than I'd expected, perhaps due to her desire to working out how to deal with Lily's leaving, rather than just being depressed over it. It makes me a little proud of her. I'm a little bit proud of her right now. Way to go, Hanako. Nice, good going. Oh, sorry, I punched you. Hey, Hanako? Yeah? Still going ahead with your idea of traveling? Because you're gonna die. She gives a determined nod.
I'll be starting in a day or two. Naomi's decided to come with me too.
Wow, quick start. Where you two headed to first?
Bangladesh. Then we're going to go to that place where all the ladyboys are.
Oh, okay, cool. Have fun.
I think we're going to start by going north. The loop down and go southward.
So, Hokkaido's going to be first. She gives another nod, more tentative than the last. The significance of that place is not lost on either of us. Do you know how you're going to handle the travelling expenses and accommodations?
Well, I'm actually really wealthy. I don't know if I told you this, but I'm actually minted. You should have been with me and I'd have bought you loads of stuff.
Ah, crap. Damn.
Yeah, I've worked out everything out. I think it should be okay. Naomi says she has her side worked out too.
You know that if you need anything, you can just call her, right? I give you my number before. Any time of day is fine. She gives a smile, which in itself feels like a small personal victory. Man, he takes a victory wherever he can get him, this guy. That's a victory right there. I'll take that as a victory right there. That's a victory. Yes, victory. Oh, did I just fart? Victory! I'm still not wearing a top. I'm still just wearing like an open shirt. Oh well.
I know. Thanks, Hisao.
Maybe Lily was right. Although I may offer Hanako any help I can possibly give, I feel as if I know she doesn't need it. She really has grown. She's like really tall now. She's like a giant. She's like up there. I'm like, what's going on? Hanako's plans for her holidays are in sharp contrast. That's how she talks. Are in sharp contrast to my simple following of my parents' suggestion to stay with them. Holidays had always made me feel less excited than most, though, so maybe this is just a return to the status quo. Before my heart attack, I'd always lived so aimlessly that holidays weren't all that much different from everyday life. After school, I'd wander around a bit in the city, often hanging out with some friends, before making my way home to eat dinner with the usual one of my parents, but really both, usually one of my parents. God, this guy had such a fun life. Yeah. Their work schedules didn't leave much time for them to be home, and going there straight from school would just have meant I'd end up feeling bored. I was an urbanite through and through. Urbanite. I was going urbanite. Urbanite. Since coming to Yamaku, though, it feels like I've fundamentally changed as a person. The phone call my parents erased any traces of doubt I might have held on that. In any case. While before I had exercised a fairly normal level of independence for a teenager, that being not a whole lot, my parents were more than pleased to hear of my newfound ability in taking care of myself. Laundry, cooking for myself, cleaning, all in addition to other general chores that come from living without parents around. Just little menial things I've had to pick up, but with relative ease. When I think of it, he's just zoned out fully now, isn't he? When I think about it, I've always depended on them. Even if they hadn't been at home all the time. To say I'd never depended on anyone after moving to Yamaku's dormitories would be far from the truth, though.
Excuse me. Oh, God damn it, Yuko.
The two of us look up at the awkwardly fidgeting figure in front. Sorry about that. This came out then. Oh. Yeah, sorry. Some things have never changed.
It's getting close to closing time, so...
Just tell us to get out, Yuko. Man up! Just grow some lady balls and get us to get the fuck out. Oh, right. I forgot that the library closes early during the holidays. Hanako and I both get up and dust ourselves off, placing our books back on the shelf behind us. The fact that our tastes in reading material have a fair amount of overlap is useful at times. With a bow to Yuko to apologize for taking so much time. Don't apologize to her. She needs to learn to toughen up. Hanako takes her leave of us. Oh, she apologized.
See you tomorrow, Hisao. See you tomorrow, Hisao.
Bye. And with that, she walks up the large wooden aging doors that herald the entrance to the library.
She's a quiet person, isn't she? Oh, God, it's talking to me.
I suppose I should be surprised at a staff member sharing personal opinions like that. Like this. But after knowing Yuko for a while, it's largely expected. She's not very professional. Our relationship is more personal. Oof, don't say that. Rather than one of her acting as an authority figure. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confident in herself these days, though.
I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to do that before.
Oh. Hey, Yuko. Know about Lily's leaving, right?
She told me herself a few days ago. It must be hard leaving everyone behind like she is.
She quickly looks back to me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lily and I before.
You going to be okay?
Don't offer to console me, Yuko, please. I'd rather puke into my own eyes. I'd rather throw up in my mouth, swallow it, and then poop it out and then eat it again. Gross. I'd rather eat a sick-coated turd. That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now, though, given more pressing issues. Something seems kind of off about this whole deal, don't you think? The mystery deepens. Yuko appears to think for a while, absent-mindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so.
I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. Sorry I can't be more help.
I don't expect anything from you. Nah, it's fine. I'm just sort of thinking aloud. I give a deep sigh and scratch my head in frustration. There's just so much stuff happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped.
I think everyone goes through times like that.
Oh my god, my fucking head.
What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least, that's how I see it. If I didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is.
She says it with a smile and a light tone. My face. My face is itching me. But her words are far from any kind of joke being pulled between two being pulled between two jokes. She says it with a smile and a light tone. I just puked out the last sentence. But her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not only to live, but also for university, must be exhausting. Perhaps that's why, coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than if it had come from most others. I guess you got a point there. Thank you for the advice, once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again before making her way back to the counter where she spends much of her time. The tiny wings of the cardboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of my room. Just a little off the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains and around their edges. Oh, the crane. I lie still in my dark bed for a long time. Touching myself, no. Idly looking up at the little origami bird. Origami. Feels like a lot's happened since Lily died. What? Why did I read died? It feels like a lot's happened since Lily died. Feels like a lot's happened since Lily... I also read that as folded this. But at the same time, it feels like very little has changed. Lily's dead now. I'm moving on. I have to move on. Hey, what's going on, Emmy? Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed. I know that much. If anything, she must make me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. Yeah, you're pretty wallowing in self-pity right now, aren't you? Lily, though. I turn the bird in my finger another way, in my fingers another way. Looking at it from yet another angle. Ooh, my fingers taste weird. When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were always careful, measured, and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave the appearance of unerring confidence and serenity. In time, she became less formal, just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions around me, and opening up, even just a little, of her own accord. It felt as if I was seeing her real self slowly become more vibrant and visible. Now, though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Perhaps they're to be expected after what is, effectively, the two of us breaking up. It don't feel new or strange, though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized, after meeting Lily, that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone who needed help and care. At first, I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more, from our quiet walks to our talking over lunch. The good sides of her personality became even more obvious and even more likable, ever more likable. The absence caused by Lily's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distant family and sick aunt only made me realize how much I liked just being around her. And I had thought that she felt a similar way. For her, though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again after meeting them from such a brief time. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to be like that. I'd thought her sense of independence to be a good and admirable trait. It was in stark difference to my reliance on my parents before my heart attack. As reluctant as I have been to admit it. However, it also meant that she never let people get too close to her. She lost her family likely due to her blindness, went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now, Akira's going to Inverness, just like the family she thought she had lost. She never told me of her plans, as conflicted as she was about them. Lily didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. I'm an idiot. I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or asked when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever, with the two of us having a nice long relationship where we push forwards towards our future together. A small pit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. I just let everything happen, never even trying to help Lily. Just her being there was enough. I thought I could keep going on as if it were true, if that were true. But that could never have been enough. It was a childlike dependence on somebody without any attempt to understand or help their situation. Thanks to that, I lost Lily. I lost the one person I loved most because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. I missed all that. Apparently he's a lot better at that than me. I didn't see any of that. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turn over and set the crane back on the desk next to my clock. The place where it has lived since the day when she folded it for me. Is he going to run to the airport now? Hit your love, get to me higher than I never get nothing before. He's going to like some sort of rom-com style. Since that day when she herself said that my burdens needn't be my own. The obnoxious red right numerals on my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock, evening. Curfew will be soon. I wonder. Akira mentioned they'd be leaving this evening. I've no idea when exactly when their flight is, but that means there's a chance, however small, they might not have left already. They might not have already left. Adrenaline starts to move from my body as if I sit up on the bed, my eyes suddenly wide of possibility. There's no guarantee they haven't left. Indeed, it's likely they already have, but there's also a chance they haven't, however small it may be. Just this once. Just as I should have before. I stand up and rush over to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can, and sliding them on in quick succession. Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain, a second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Even if I fail, I have to try. It is, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it, man! I can't let her leave everything behind without even trying to stop her, without just this once being there for her. With the last of my clothes slipped on, I hastily grabbed the phone off the desk. Luckily, the number for a local taxi company is still in my call history. A gruff, unenthusiastic voice, "Oh, what the fuck do you want?" announces the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice and keep it clear over the phone. The chilly night air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door, but nevertheless, I keep up a brisk speed as I half jog, half run out of the school gates. I may not be curfew just yet, but it's precariously close. If there were a guard around, there's no doubt they'd have some questions for me. But it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive, or they're around the corner. My pace picks up as I make my way through the school gardens, their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run to the school gate. The lamps on the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance at them. Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me. Now they just look to be somewhat anachronistic school buildings, same as any of a bar their age. Any of us bar their... fuck it. Leaving the gates behind me, forget those words. Those words are gone. We need to get to the airport. I pull up to a stop just before the taxi. Parked just as Akira's car had been, its gaudy and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. This is no time for this. Just get in the taxi. I impatiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the driver the address for where the two should hopefully be staying. By the time the taxi pulls up after its trip at a maddeningly casual speed, it's well and truly deep into the night. The house is truly enormous, its sheer size much larger than I'd expected, and ominously still. Fearing the worst, I ask the driver to stay just in case my efforts are for naught. A single press on the fancy intercom system outside the gate produces a short electronic melody in the otherwise silent road. It's not long before a somewhat deep, gruff voice can be heard from it.
"This is the Hakamichi residence," I bet it's him. "Please state your name and why you're bothering us this late."
I press on despite inwardly wincing at the reasonable annoyance audible in his voice. It's Hisao Nakai? I was hoping to meet Lily or Akira if they're still here. Surprisingly, I managed to summon quite some energy to my voice, enough to make the other side of the intercom silent. A few seconds pass, but just before I press the button again and ask what's going on, a light turns on outside the front door. I strain my eyes to try and make out who is coming through, but as he comes past a large parked car with fishing rods sticking out the back, his identity becomes clear. His face is typically placid and emotionless as he saunters up to the gate. Oh wait, was it? "Please tell us why you're waiting." I thought it was going to be him. He's still childlike in his mannerisms, despite his demeanour. With the press of a few buttons from behind the fence, the gate slowly opens.
"Hisao, what are you doing here?"
I think this is the most emotion I've heard from his voice. Not that it would be hard to reach that mark. Akira told me that she and Lily would be staying here before they left for their flight. I need to talk to Lily just one last time. Are they still here? The look on his face says everything. I failed. It was too late. To the airport! The one time when I actually needed to act quickly and...
Actually, it's possible.
What? What is that? He's taken a bit back with my fervour, but I can't help it at this point.
They left not long ago, only a few minutes before you arrived, in fact. If you go straight to the airport, you might be able to... Hisao?
I dart back.
Wait, Hisao! Wait, I forgot to tell you. They went to a different airport.
I dart back towards the waiting taxi, grabbing what little money is left in my pocket as I go. Thanks, Hideaki. With that, I take a seat and in short order bark out my destination. My chest beats wildly as I tear down the street, my body twisting this way and that to slip between the pedestrians walking back and forth beside me. With the road solidly blocked by taxis and other cars, what's he gonna say? Dropping off passengers and picking up others in the time they have to wait, we ended up having to stop almost a block away. But that's in the past now. What matters is reaching Lily. One foot hits the ground, the other quickly following without the slightest thought, as if my legs have taken on a life of their own. And all my mind can do is concentrate on the view ahead of me. Just one glimpse of that long hair of hers, that long yellow hair that was the same colour as the wheat that stretched as far as the eye could see. In the end, I depended on Lily, just like Hanako did. Even after we started going out, it still doesn't feel like she ever really let herself depend on me. Except for one moment, that moment when we held each other tightly on that bright yellow field. At that time, she must have feared losing me just as she did everyone else. That's why, just this once. The night air wraps around me, draining every last remnant of warmth out of my body, to the extent that it feels more like midwinter than a summer night. My fingers, my hands, my feet, they all feel increasingly cold. The sound of the passing crowds is reduced to no more than a background hum, while the sound of my shoes hitting the pavement echoes loudly, every step surging towards the person I have to catch. Forced by my chest tightening in response to the cold of the night, I rest an arm over it to try and settle it down. He's gonna die on his way to the airport.
Lily! Lily, help!
When the airport comes to view, though, I realize the feeling is one I've felt before. Not now. Of all the times for this, please not now. I take a gulp and soldier on regardless, pushing my body as far as it'll go. Sweat pours off me as I hurtle forward, my shoulder hitting someone's side and my mind suddenly flooding with emotions and memories. What motions and memories? I continue on without an apology. I have to keep moving now. If I stop, I'm not sure I could begin again. But even if I could, it would be all for naught if I'm not in time. I hit another person, then another, offering little resistance to getting bounced about. My feet feel numb. My arms are losing all feeling. My chest forces me to hunch over awkwardly, tightening even more. Evermore. That afternoon in the snow, that time when my life irreversibly changed. Images of Iwanako and that damned letter flash over and over in my mind. The first love I'd lost thanks to my condition. Were you in love with her? Or was it just a crush? Or I didn't even know you liked her. I can't let that happen again. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I just need to see her one last time. Lily! There. A sliver of yellow and white comes into view. Whatever. Some distance down the road. Her figure silhouetted by the lights emanating from the airport entrance. Lily! Lily! Lily!
Stop, please, Lily! I love you, Lily!
Come on, Lily. I know your hearing's far beyond no... Gah! My view suddenly spins out of control and ends up on the ground. My body haphazardly sprawled after hitting someone and stumbling over. Before I can assess the damage, an unbelievable pain ignites in my body. All my thoughts are blanked as I curl up and frantically clutch at my chest. Hey, you okay? That was a really bad fall. It's pain, I can't.
I can't go on. You have to carry me. You have to take me with you. I can't go on. You have to take me with you.
Any sharp knock could do me in. Any overexertion. I thought I could overcome my limits this once. Something's wrong with him.
Oh, could somebody call a doctor?
What's the matter? The voices of those gathering around me are gradually replaced by a loud ringing in my ears. By now, I'm unable to move my head. My eyes turn upwards to see the mute moving of their lips. Even as I clutch my chest, I realize I can't feel my fingers anymore, nor my feet. It feels like my entire body is shutting down, starting from my extremities. With one last effort, I turn my head down the road towards the airport entrance that's casting its light over me. Lily is there, behind the crowd, Her head is tilted, but only just slightly. I can feel my vision dimming as I try to yell out, but nothing emerges from my mouth, despite my best efforts. Slowly but surely, my vision begins to black out the scene before me. So, this is how it ends. I failed. I was so close, so very close, but at the very last moment, my condition seized my chance at a new life and dragged me back. Now I'm gonna die. Sprawled out just meters from an airport with a crowd of babbling people surrounding me, and with Lily leaving for Scotland just a little distance ahead. Lily. That last word extinguishes the last of my energy. The world falls into a deep, inescapable blackness as every muscle in my body shuts down. I'm sorry, Lily. I was too late.